Welcome! In this explainer, we're going to break down the incredible, microscopic, and frankly, epic story of how human life begins. It's a journey that's all about biology, perfect timing, and, yeah, a little bit of luck. So let's start with a big question. When you think of the most difficult, most complex journeys ever, what pops into your head? Maybe an Arctic expedition? Or a mission to Mars? Well, it turns out the answer is way smaller, but infinitely more complex. It's the 9-month odyssey that started with just a couple of cells and resulted in, well, you, and every single person who has ever lived. Okay, so let's get into how this actually works. To really understand the journey, we first have to look at the fundamental process that makes it all possible: sexual reproduction. Now, what's so special about this? Well, unlike asexual reproduction, where an offspring is basically just a clone, sexual reproduction is all about mixing things up. It's like shuffling a genetic deck of cards, taking half the information from one parent, half from another, and creating someone totally, completely new.
And it all starts with these two, our main characters. On the left, you've got the sperm, and on the right, the egg or ovum. Each one of these highly specialized cells carries exactly half of the genetic blueprint needed to build a human being.
But, these two could not be more different in their game plan. The sperm is built for speed and sheer numbers. It's got that tail to propel it forward, and there are millions of them. The egg, on the other hand, is huge in comparison, stationary, and plays the waiting game. It's really a strategy of quantity versus quality, and you absolutely need both for this to work. So, the big question is, where do these incredible cells even come from? For that, we need to take a look inside the sophisticated biological factories that are designed to produce them. All right, first up, the male reproductive system. Its main job is to be a non-stop factory for sperm. And here's a brilliant bit of biological design. The testes are located outside the main body cavity. Why? Because it keeps them just a little bit cooler than the rest of the body, which turns out to be the perfect temperature for making healthy sperm.
The actual process of making sperm is called spermatogenesis. You can think of it like a continuous production line that kicks into gear at puberty and just keeps on going. It all happens inside these hundreds of tiny coiled tubes inside the testes. That's where all the action is.
Now, this process happens in a few key stages. It starts with these basic germ cells that just multiply and grow. But the really crucial step is a special kind of cell division called meiosis. This is where the number of chromosomes gets cut exactly in half, making sure that the final sperm carries just its half of the genetic code before it matures into that streamlined swimmer we all recognize.
And the sheer scale of this operation, it's just staggering. A single ejaculation can contain anywhere from 200 to 300 million sperm. So why so many? Well, because it's an incredibly tough journey ahead, and this massive number is basically a strategy to make sure that at least a few of the strongest and fastest will have a fighting chance to reach the destination.
Okay, let's switch gears now and turn our attention to the female reproductive system. This system is designed for a whole bunch of complex jobs. It doesn't just produce the egg, it's also the place where fertilization happens, where the embryo implants, and where the entire 9-month development of a new life takes place. The female process is called oogenesis, and what's absolutely fascinating here is that it starts way before birth. A female is born with all the egg cells she will ever have, kind of paused in an early stage of development. Then, from puberty on, usually one of these cells will mature and be released each month. So, we have our two key players ready to go. Now, let's get to that critical window of time when their paths might finally actually cross. The whole thing is orchestrated by the menstrual cycle, this roughly 28-day rhythm of hormones. You've got key players like estrogen and progesterone that rise and fall in this delicate dance, all to prepare the uterus and create the perfect, welcoming environment for a potential pregnancy.
The absolute peak moment of this cycle is ovulation. Right around day 14, a huge spike in luteinizing hormone, or LH, basically gives the go signal. It causes a mature follicle in the ovary to rupture and release the egg. The egg is then swept into the fallopian tube, and now the clock is officially ticking. So, if sperm are in the fallopian tube at this exact time, fertilization can happen. Out of all those millions, one single sperm penetrates the egg's outer layer, and their genetic material fuses together. This creates a brand new single cell called a zygote, which now has a complete set of 46 chromosomes, half from each parent.
But believe it or not, the journey is really just getting started. As this new zygote travels down the fallopian tube towards the uterus, it starts dividing like crazy into 2 cells, then 4, then 8, and on and on. It quickly transforms into a tiny ball of cells and then into a hollow structure called a blastocyst, which is now ready for its next critical mission, implanting itself into the wall of the uterus.
Once that blastocyst successfully burrows into the rich lining of the uterus, the most incredible construction project in all of nature begins. This is the 9-month marathon of building a complete human being from that tiny ball of cells.
And the absolute key to all of this is the placenta. This amazing organ is the ultimate life support system. It forms a bridge, delivering all the oxygen and nutrients the fetus needs from the mother's blood. And at the same time, it removes all the waste products, all through the umbilical cord.
The development over these 9 months is just mind-blowing. Think about these milestones for a second. After just 1 month, the heart has already formed and is beating. By the end of month 3, pretty much all the major organs are in place. Around month 5, the first little kicks and movements can be felt. And by month 9, you have a fully developed baby ready to enter the world. And that marathon of development all leads up to the grand finale, the most dramatic and transformative event of all, the moment of birth.
The scientific term for it is parturition. It's this complex process that's actually kicked off by signals from the fully developed fetus itself. It's like the baby says, "I'm ready." This triggers the release of the hormone oxytocin in the mother, which causes those powerful uterine contractions that guide the baby out into the world.
And this brings us to a final, really amazing thought. Every single one of us is here because of an unbroken chain of successful journeys just like this one. A chain that stretches back through all of human history and even beyond. It's this incredible biological inheritance that connects us all. So it really leaves us with one last question. After this unbelievable journey of creation, what journey comes next for you?